Hey, hey, welcome to the Summit Host Hangout podcast, where you'll learn how to host a high converting virtual summit that leads to your biggest signature offer launch yet. I'm your host, Krista from Summit in a Box, and today you're going to get a fun behind the scenes look at an incredible first time summit that one of our clients in the Launch with the Summit Accelerator hosted. And there is just so much amazing stuff to dive into here. Everything from a 6-figure launch during her first year in business, how she aligned it all to her sensitive personality, how she made it feel good to her, and how she managed it all with a chronic illness, among other things that could be normally seen as hurdles. So before we dive into all of that, I want to give you a little background on our guest. She is a therapist, consultant, copywriter, and creator of the Intensive Design Lab, where she supports therapists to launch therapy intensives in private practice so that they can work less and earn more while helping clients heal. She is passionate about helping therapists and introverted entrepreneurs build multiple streams of income so they can create a life they love. And I am so excited for you to hear how she's done that for herself, part of that being thanks to a really awesome summit. So without further ado, let's dive in and talk with Steffeny Feld of Kaleidoscope Counseling. Welcome, Steffeny.
Yay! Hi, I'm so glad
Oh my gosh,
to be
I've really
here.
been looking forward to this interview. One, just because it's you and I just love chatting with you. And also, there is so much good stuff that we are planning to talk about. And I don't know how we're gonna make it happen, but we're gonna get it out. We're gonna get it out, see if we can do it in about a half hour. And if not, we'll just be here all day and it's fine. But
Right?
before we dive in, tell us a little bit about you and your business.
Yeah. So I'm just over here living the therapist life, meeting with clients. I have a young kid and I stumbled across these things called intensives, which are essentially like VIP days, but for therapists. I was like, this is amazing. And it just sort of unfolded from there. Someone asked me to do a workshop. I ended up making it a course. And then I came across, actually really early in my business, like very early, came across Summit in a Box. And I was like, I think this is brilliant and I'm going to do it.
I love it so much. Okay, well, what made you decide, what made you think that it was brilliant? What of the process or the promises or whatever, we were like, yes, I need this?
Right. It's so funny. I just remember, and maybe I'm like a type of business owner that makes like those really gut decisions. But I got connected with you through Lizzie Goddard. So you're doing like sharing about summits. I had never even heard of them. I don't even think I had even attended one. Maybe. Yeah, because they're not as common in the therapy space. Now they are, but like even within the last year. But I was just like, this makes sense to me. I could see how there's so many benefits, like building your visibility, building your credibility. I love like connecting and collaborating with other like leaders and creators. And so I was like, this fits with me as a person, but I can just tell this will work.
That's so great. I love the gut feeling. I have that a lot too. And you just got to go with it. Once you decided that, yes, this is happening, did you have any specific goals you were aiming for? Since you were newer to the online business world too, correct?
Yes. Okay. So wow, I feel so funny. I'm learning about myself saying this, but I think after watching it, I was like, this could be a 6-figure launch, like from the beginning. And I remember talking to my husband and being like, I don't know, it's a larger investment because I did the launch accelerator, but I was like, I just feel it in my bones. I will make back that money and more. And I'm just going to do it. And I wasn't even planning. If you remember, I took time off. Yeah. I didn't even jump right in. I took a couple months off to build my course after I joined. But I was just like, I think it's going to work. And it did.
It did. Oh my gosh. Okay. Well, I had goosebumps of you your discussion with your husband, I'm going to make it back and more. I'm like, oh my gosh, I love it so much. You just felt it. Okay. Tell us what the results look like.
Yeah. So this is so mind-boggling still to this day. Cause then I thought did I just make that up? When you're in the thick of it, the summit is like the Olympics of all administration. Even if you have a team, is so much. I think it might've broke my brain a little bit, but it was so worth it. So, okay. My business was new. I think my email list when I started the program was at 500. Now it's 3,000. So it grew so much. Mm-hmm. 3,000 people registered for the free ticket. 500 bought the VIP pass. And then 100 people joined my course. Yeah, it was bonkers. Bananas.
Oh my.
It's like I knew, again, like my gut told me that was real and it was going to happen, but like my mind couldn't catch up. So it ended up being like we cleared 100K like at least 24 or 48 hours like before car closed. So I was like, oh my gosh. I went to my like favorite ice cream shop and got like a champagne sorbet because I was like,
Yes!
this is amazing. I knew it would happen, but also was afraid I was wrong.
Isn't it crazy? Like, you never know. You never know. But I love that I feel like you never let the doubt like take over anything. You're just like, we're doing the thing. And
Right. Like stay focused. Summit in a Box gave me everything I needed. So like if I was having a moment of crisis, I could just dive back into like my to-do list, my lesson, the templates, like I didn't stay stuck there long.
yeah.
Like there's so much support in the program. You could just keep moving.
Keep moving. That's my goal. That's my goal. Keep everyone
Right.
moving. Don't let anyone sit in their feelings too much. Just keep it on going.
Yep. Don't even stress.
That is so great, especially for a first-time business or a first-time summit and for a newer online business. Like that's wild.
Yeah.
Like if I feel like if you would have like put that in your application, like here are my goals, I would have been like, okay, but let's just take another look at this because I wouldn't have wanted to promise that, of course. But oh my gosh, that is so wonderful. Do you have any like inkling as to why you were able to come out of the gate with such huge results? Like what was the key to that?
Yeah. I think it's like a perfect storm. I think the topic is very trending right now in this space. There's not other people doing it, not as many people talking about it. I think leaning into relationships, like there were some people who were very well established that we have close relationships and they supported me and promoted it. And some of my speakers were sending more emails than I was. Like I had a very, very strong team of supporters, really.
Mm-hmm.
And I love that, like, it all came back to relationships and like cheering for one another and making connections. You know, like this speaker would say, hey, do you know this person? They would be so great. And then it would just keep dominoing from there, you know? And once you have someone on board who's like a really stellar standout speaker, more people are willing to jump in and they tell people, and it just sort of takes on a life of its own. So mostly it was exciting to be like, oh my gosh, that, like I did all the like hard work, but I was like, wow, it can just take off.
Yeah. At some point you're just kind of like along for the ride almost.
Yes. And even during the summit, I was like, I planned this. I've heard all the presentations, but like it still became something so amazing and so beyond what I could have expected because real life people showed up and, you know, the conversations that came up in the live panels or in the Facebook group. I mean, it was just so enjoyable to be a part of.
I love that. And I think like I can feel your genuine like enjoyment and appreciation. And I think that probably had a big part to play because I know that's how you showed up for your speakers as well. And you mentioned like the relational aspect, and it does make such a difference when you're going in excited about the connections, excited about the impact you're going to make versus just like this transactional thing like, hey, please send these emails. Like, hey, have you sent the emails yet? It's so different when they are on board. And you also mentioned your topic. Your topic was so spot on, so unique, so specific. Of course, they'd want to promote that because it's exciting to put that kind of thing in front of your audience. So you had all the perfect pieces that came together.
And I think there was some strategy that you helped me with in terms of like positioning the summit and also like finding speakers that overlap where like our audiences are similar. And so that really helped me be strategic. So it wasn't just in service of me. It served the other speakers. It served the audience. Like everyone was winning basically. And I mean, you can't go wrong.
Yes. If you are the one making everyone win, like that's a good thing.
Yes.
I love that. Yes. Okay. So the summit was a hit. I love that. And, you know, I could talk about that all day, but I also want to get into some of these other things that I know we can talk about because it's all just so important. And I know different pieces are going to be so relevant for different people listening. The first thing I want to talk about is that in addition to hosting a summit, you manage a therapy practice and a copywriting business. So my question is how? How did you manage it all? Give us your secrets.
Yeah. Yeah, I think I'm very, very organized.
Mm-hmm.
And I think all of the timelines and templates that you get in the program helped because it could be so mapped out. And that helped my brain be like, okay, here's the time when I'm doing this. Here's the time when I'm doing that. It all just like unfolded. And of course, life happens. And, you know, like you said, I live with chronic illness. So some days my brain is sharp and moving quickly, and other days it's not. And so just having like that wiggle room to like strike when the iron's hot, but also like rest when it's needed. And actually, I ended up taking this is kind of nuts. I attended a therapist retreat that was very focused on like self-care and relaxation, like the weekend before promo opened.
Ooh.
So maybe like actually the last day, like when I flew home might have been the first day of my promo.
Oh no.
It was nice because everything was like pre-scheduled, but then when it actually came to the part where I needed to show up and like be in my best self, I had just had this like really wonderful, restful experience with like people I love. And I was ready to engage and like be there for the summit and the promo.
That's so great. Did you give yourself like a longer timeline at all, knowing that you also had these two other businesses essentially going on?
Yeah, I did. Not too much longer, but I would just take like the templates and suggested timeline and kind of like weave it through some of the other deadlines that I had.
Mm-hmm.
Because many of us, you know, hosting summits, it's not our primary. A lot of people have full-time jobs or are doing other things. And I guess the beauty of being neurodivergent is like sometimes you just get really excited and hyper-focused and you can get so much done. So I just tried to like ride that wave. And if I was exhausted or whatever, just stop. It's totally okay. You don't have to be like at a consistent pace.
Yes. Okay. I love that. And I was kind of going to ask about that next, but maybe that's kind of the answer. I was going to ask like, how were you, like you had a huge launch and like, I'm sure there were a lot of people. I'm sure it was an active community in addition to all the planning that went into it. So did you like plan extra time in, like, you know, other than the retreat that you went on to make sure you could prioritize yourself through a busy process? Or was there anything else you did to help with that?
I learned some things for next time. I blocked off my calendar for like the week of after the summit where my cart would be open, but I wasn't very strict about it. And random appointments were like, you know, ended up being scheduled. And I think in the future, I would just keep it completely plain.
Mm-hmm.
Just because, you know, there's so much energy and adrenaline, at least for me, during the summit week that I just need to be totally off the grid immediately after. Like maybe I could respond to emails or customer service stuff, but I definitely needed time afterward to like
yes,
let it move through.
Yeah, I know some people like
exhausting.
Yeah, I have some clients who like schedule themselves a trip for, you know, a couple weeks after their summit so they can go chill. It's a great idea. I actually have one right now who is on a vacation the week before her summit. I'm like, ooh, that's actually a good idea too, if you have all your ducks in a row, you know, but I love the idea of planning time off, whether it's before registration opens, near the end of that time period, or middle of it when it's quiet or after.
Right,
it's
right.
Another question I wanted to ask you is related to the fact that you are sensitive and so focused on relationships and so service-based, because I have a lot of people come in and be like, I want to host a summit, but I am not going to monetize the first time because I just want to serve. I just want to build relationships. I don't want to make it this pitchy thing. And I like, of course, I'm like, well, that's not how we do it, but I want them to be able to hear from you. I guess first, would you say that our strategies aligned well with your sensitive relational personality? And were there any changes that you made?
No, it was extremely aligned. I think sometimes you were bringing to light like ways to be sensitive that I hadn't even considered. And I really appreciated that. Like, especially when it came to finding like speakers and sponsors who you align with. I think the feel good sales methods were like way more sensitive than anything I'd ever heard before, which I thought was really cool. And no, they were incredibly aligned with that. In fact, there were times where you would bring up things and I was like, oh my gosh, that is more sensitive than I even like would have thought or had heard before. I'm thinking specifically of the like finding sponsors that you align with, finding speakers that you align with, and then the like feel good sales methods. That was really, really cool to think like you can approach selling in a way that feels okay with you. And I think you gave really practical ways of how to do that. So I loved it. And it's just creating the summit at all is an act of service. And so the selling part is just an option. People can opt into it if they want more, but you're just offering it as a gift. And so many people enjoyed it and were so blown away by how much value was in the free ticket that they were just, I'm not lying. They were literally saying like take my money. Like, when is the course opening? Because I wanted to buy yesterday. So that made the launch fun. Like, it's super fun to sell to people who are dying to buy from you. And the summit like positioned that perfectly, honestly.
I love that. That's like one of my favorite phrases when I hear that a client heard that through their summit, take my money, because you just do it so well and it can be done so naturally. And like sometimes I even feel like it's almost a disservice to not have another way for them to take it a step further. But I think sometimes people are just really sensitive to the kinds of feedback you can get. Like, I don't know if you experienced it, but I feel like there will always be those people that no matter how much you give, they're always like, well, why is that part paid? Why do I have to pay for that? It's like, oh my goodness, if you can look at what goes into a summit and everything that we provide and still complain that there's something else for sale, like I can't help you, Like there are so many people that are happy to give you payment in exchange for even more,
Yes. Like they're shocked by how much you're offering for free that they just think like, what am I even going to get when I actually invest in the course? So it makes it lighthearted. It makes it enjoyable. Like the pressure and the stress just really wasn't there.
I love that. So what would you say is the top piece of advice you would give anyone looking to host their first summit?
Oh my gosh. Well, first of all, get Summit in a box.
Thank you.
Like 100%. I just love it so much. Like it is so comprehensive, truly. And not just like in a like robotic, like technical sense, like the heart piece, the sensitivity, like the humanity, it's all there. And to just do it, like dive in, believe in yourself.
Yes.
It sounds so cheesy, but like, honestly, I think mindset is huge. If you like, no one can buy from you if you're not going to offer it. And offering in a summit is just such a kind and like gracious way to care for your audience. And they really feel that like offering a summit is a great way to develop connection with your audience and the other people in your sphere. So just do it.
If you're ready to host a high-converting virtual summit to replace your slow-growth marketing strategies and use it to lead into your biggest course launch yet, I've got an exclusive training just for you. This training is for those who are interested in working with me in our Launch with the Summit Accelerator to host a summit that blows industry standards out of the water, uses feel-good engagement-based strategies to create an amazing experience for everyone involved, seamlessly leads into your biggest course launch yet, and sets you up for additional post-summit profits on the back end. Inside the Accelerator, we help our clients consistently host life and business-changing virtual summits, and in the free private training, I'll show you exactly how it works along with all kinds of examples. So apply for an invite to the Launch with the Summit Accelerator and the training at summithosthangout.com/apply. I love it so much. Thank you so much for being on and sharing so freely. Where can people go to learn more about you and what you do?
Yeah, for sure. So Kaleidoscope Counseling, STL.com. And if you're a YouTuber, you can catch me. It's my name, Steffeny Feld.
I love it. We'll link to that in the show notes. Thank you so much for being here, Steffeny. And thank you so much, everybody, for tuning in. For show notes and resources and links and all of that, you can head to the link in the episode description wherever you're listening. For now, go out and take action to plan, strategize, and launch your high converting virtual summit.